Hi, Mark Zipic, Crocker Farm Auction. I'm here to discuss two important documents in clay that we'll be selling in our spring 2021 auction. These oyster jars were made at the pottery of the African-American Potter Thomas Commeraw of Corlear's Hook, Manhattan, New York, sometime during the late 18th or early 19th century. One of the things that's very interesting about Commeraw's oyster jars is that they are the only examples of American pottery that we can think of that were made by an African-American potter for African-American businessmen. In this case, it was two African-American oystermen. Both were prominent figures in their community. The one was George White, and you can see the initials here, GW, GW & Co., number 202, Warter Street, misspelling of Water Street, and York. And George White was one such oysterman who was an associate of Commeraw's, a patron of his business. And then the other one is Daniel Johnson, another important figure in his community. And this piece is stamped Daniel Johnson & Co., number 24 Lumber Street, New York. Now, a little interesting tidbit about this second one is the use of the stamp New York, because obviously when we see Commeraw's work, whether it's pieces with bearing his own signature or his advertising pieces such as this, you'll typically see the N York. So this is one of only two or so New York pieces stamped thusly by Thomas Commeraw. These two jars are examples of some of the earliest advertising done in American stoneware. You know, when we think of people who collect American stoneware advertising, we're usually thinking of pieces made from the 1830s or later, when that sort of thing became very common. And you'll see, of course, New York State jugs and pieces like that that will have elaborate advertising. Some of them might have 6 lines of advertising for paints, oils, dyes, that sort of thing. But Commeraw, we believe, in our studies of American stoneware, we can't find anything earlier than that in terms of advertising. And so we think he was the first potter to market wares to various merchants impressed with their names and addresses. And that was something that would proliferate throughout America. And of course, you still see it on utilitarian ware even to this day. So these are wonderful historical objects, sweet little sizes, wonderful usage for these as oyster jars. Kind of links it to also maritime themes, which are always popular. You can see just how, well, you probably can't see in this video, but these are incredibly thick-walled. They're very, very dense, very thick for keeping those oysters fresh and cool inside. This example on the left has traces of barnacles on it, and there's been a handful of these excavated in tributaries in Guyana, associated with the Dutch fort. And Ivanhoe Hume has actually discussed them in Ceramics in America article. But these are getting rarer and rarer to find. And as important early works of advertising and pieces made by Thomas Commeraw, they're very special examples of Manhattan stoneware, and we're happy to offer them in our spring 2021 auction.